Hey, happy Friday, guys. Today we're talking about something that a lot of people have been attracted to. We did a video last Friday on Airbnbs, and this week we're going to talk about condos and how you use them as vacation rentals and do it at zero cost, right? Which is what everybody wants to do. How do I get some of that Florida real estate, zero cost it? I can spend some time in there with my family, get away, enjoy it, but I'm also able to make money on it in the meantime, right? So I'm going to give you some things to kind of look into when you're doing this. It is just like any other investment in most aspects, but a couple things you want to keep in mind, right? One of the big challenges you're going to see up front is when you look at really any HOA, but condos specifically, especially condos on the water in Florida, you're going to see that they have protected the owners of that community in a lot of circumstances, more so than other areas, right? So when I say protected, I mean that the HOA will either not allow for you to rent that property out, or they'll allow you to rent it out, but it might take a year, 2 years, 3 years before you can do it, right? So they'll have time restrictions on there. And in addition to that, they might say that you've got minimums on the amount of time you have to rent it out. So they know you want to do Airbnb, so they might not allow anything under 90 days for a rental, right? Which makes Airbnb not impossible, but tough. It lessens the buyer pool that you've got. Some won't allow anything less than 180 days, and some won't allow anything less than a year. So I don't tell you this to scare you. I tell it to you because literally you can invest, and I've done this. You can invest an hour or two just looking through the different HOAs to see which HOAs will allow for you to be able to get in and either rent it out or Airbnb it or whatever you want to do. From their perspective, it's all the same thing, right? But you can look into that so you can see which ones fit what you want. Now, I've seen a lot of people too, if the big holdup is, hey, you've got to own this property for a year or two before you do it, they'll say, fine, I'm gonna either live there or we'll vacation really heavy for a year there, and maybe you'll take a loss for that first year, right? Or maybe you'll live there and it's not really a loss, it's your living costs anyway, right? So different things you can do, but then after that 1 year, you've got yourself the investment. Now, if you're looking for a perfect investment, money-wise, that might not be it, right? A normal single-family home, inland, not in an HOA, is going to be a lot easier when it comes to restrictions. But if you're looking at how do I, over the long term, how do I zero cost vacations in a condo, you might be willing to take the expense hit for 1 year, or you might be willing to move there and then get rid of your, wherever you were renting or owning before, get rid of that expense. So you still got the same expenses out of pocket. You're just living in a different area. You might be willing to do these things that are uncomfortable short term to get yourself into something that can benefit you long term, right? So a lot of different things you want to look at. Now, we talked about some things with Airbnbs last week that you really want to focus on. But really, when it comes to how you want to rent it out too. Do you want to rent it out yourself? Do you want to Airbnb it? There's no right or wrong answer. It's really just what fits you the best. I'll tell you, as a guy who has owned a lot of properties and rented them out myself, and I've also had management companies do it for me, you are working a job renting out a property, right? There are a lot of people who have 1 or 2 properties. Ask them, how easy is it? You might get a good tenant and, they're in there for 5-10 years and you never hear from them more than maybe once a year or when the air conditioner goes out or whatever. But you're also going to get the opposite, right? Where you get a lot of people who are complaining about a lot of different things and they need this fixed and that fixed, and they're demolishing your property and they're loud and they're doing drugs and they've got people coming over for parties, and you're going to get both. And even though you can mitigate your risk with a good upfront process to screen who comes into your property, you can never guarantee it, right? So when you get a property management company, or not like with Airbnb, it's not so much a property management company as it is a marketing company. You don't have to worry about all that marketing because they do such a great job. That's where anybody's going to go look first to go find a property, right? So you get a lot of marketing out of them, right? Then you can think about, okay, you've got to have a cleaner. So that's a cost that you're going to have involved. You're going to have natural expenses. You can go in and you can look up what are the average expenses on whatever, right? A condo with 1,000 square feet, a house with 2,000 square feet, a home that is 60 years old, whatever you want. You can do the data the research to find the data that'll tell you exactly what you're going to average on expenses. Now, is that going to be right every single year? No. Some years you're going to have zero. Some years you're going to have to get a new roof and it's going to cost you $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. It is what it is. But if you're looking at condos specifically, you're not going to have that big roof cost, right? The association will take care of the roof in most cases, and then they're going to divvy that out amongst all the owners, and you're going to pay a percentage of it. So if you've got a 42-unit building, they're going to take the cost of that roof, divide it by 42, and that's what you're going to pay. It's going to be a much smaller cost. It's going to be a bigger roof because it's a bigger building, and that's going to be a bigger cost. But when you divide that out by all the people that are in it, it's generally going to be a lot cheaper than it is if you're a single family homeowner, right? So guys, lots of ways to get in and purchase a condo and make it zero cost for vacation purposes. I see a lot of people who will purchase the condo and, you know, get around whatever hurdles we already kind of talked about. And then once they start renting it out, maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks out of the year, they'll use it, right? So maybe 48 weeks out of the year, they've got that sucker rented out and they're making all that cash flow. And then that surplus in cash that they've got can go towards paying the mortgage for those 4 weeks that they're down there. Maybe it's 2 weeks in the spring, 2 weeks in the fall, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. It's up to each family individually. But now you've got a zero cost, or in some cases, you're still making profit on it, condo, right? And you're in Florida, soaking up that sun, enjoying that wonderful beach, and it's not costing you $1. And in some cases, you might actually be taking in money. So the big takeaway that you should have here is don't be scared. People do it. And people who execute, people who action are not going to let hurdles get in the way. They're going to find ways around them, right? So do not let it scare you, man. It's just one challenge in front of you. It's another journey you're going to take on in your life. But if you find it attractive to have your own rental, your own property down here in Florida, maybe either on the beach or close to the beach, and you can do it at zero cost, the big thing you've got to do is be mentally prepared to get through some of those hurdles, right? Run the numbers. Ask a guy like me. You can DM me. You can text me. You can email me. Ask me as many questions as you've got. I will answer them all. I'll help you. I'll point you in the right direction as to where to go, where not to go. What do you look up? What questions do you ask? But just go find some good resources, some people you trust, and you can absolutely do it. Guys, if you have any other questions, concerns, anything like that, you can get in touch with me anytime. Otherwise, I hope you have a great Friday. Take care.